When you want to start playing with decorative threads, whether it's a thick thread like a Razzle Dazzle by Ricky Timms, one of my favorites, a woolly nylon, or something even as big as an 1/8 of an inch silk ribbon, it's beautiful through the serger. Of course, we can only put it through the loopers. If you're going to do a rolled hem, you only need to put it in the upper looper. And you can actually do this 2 ways. If you've got thread in the serger, we can just tie it on and pull the knot through, which is what I want to show you right now. If you don't have the serger threaded, you could quick put normal thread in, pump it through, and then tie onto it. But there is also a looper threader. So this can go ahead and get fed through the tubes, and then the little opening could have the thread sit in it, and you can just pull it right on through. So multiple ways to actually do this. I'm a fan of tying on. So let me show you my trick for tying on. So take the thread back by the spool. Don't cut close to the machine because then you don't have a lot to tie onto. Cut back here, and now you have something that can work. So I do have the spool cone holder, so I'm going to pull that off and put this in its place. And with the proper knot, what you're looking for is what I call just an overhand knot. Put the 2 ends together, and with them together, just tie a knot like you're tying a balloon. And then, ta-da, and cut it. I usually cut this a little bit close. So at the serger down here, what I want you to do is raise up the presser foot, because remember that does open the tension disc, allowing you to easily pull these threads. Now when you pull, you're going to notice there are some extra threads. That is true. So I usually clip off the chain. When you clip off the chain, a couple of those threads are fakes, and we'll just slide on out. Get a hold of the color or thread you tied onto, and if you need to help it through, and I need to help this because I've got it cut on the bottom already, so I might just actually set it behind the serger so it doesn't do that. And then open this up and just again give it a little help through maybe an area like these little guides if it doesn't want to slip underneath. Today it does not want to. There it goes. And then just make sure it follows all the way through until it's out the looper. Then you're ready to stitch. Except, does the serger know that you just put thick thread in it? It doesn't. So the first thing I do is I'll just take the tension that the thread went through and drop it down a number or 2, maybe 1.5 numbers worth. So I'm going to go to 1.5 since 3 was normal. That way it just gives it some little bit more breathing room in there since we have filled it with something thicker. If I'm doing a rolled hem and I go over to tight like I'm supposed to, I still can come over here and give it a little bit more tighten or higher number, because now it's having to work double duty and pull thread that's not its same equal, it's much heavier, to pull it around the edge. So let's go ahead and set the rolled hem stitch finger towards us. I'm going to just leave the stitch length the normal setting, and let's just go ahead and stitch. I don't know what setting I'm going to get, so you just have to do a test to find out what you are going to go with. And I'm still on differential feed. That's probably quite long. And I can tell already I'm going to need to really crank up my tension. And I'm going to shorten the stitch length, which is the inside down to a rolled hem here. So I can tell that as I got going, I can get the thread to pull more around to the back side. Now it's gathering up because I had a long stitch length and differential feed still on from our gathering sample. But now that I've kind of got that set and back to normal, let's go ahead and see. Oh yes, I'm going to give this a little bit more setting, tighten that up a little bit. So there's really no limit on how much for decorative threads you can do. It is so fun to find some of those chunkier threads that you would never put through a sewing machine. The only way this would go in a sewing machine would be if I did bobbin work and put it in the bobbin, then I had to stitch upside down, and then, oh, there's tension adjustments there too. But it is actually quite easy to do on a serger. And you know what else is really fun to do? It's just to stitch and make your own cord. See how pretty this is? We often use this cord when I do free motion couching because it is such a perfect weight. It's soft and supple. And sometimes instead of just one spool of decorative thread in the machine, I'll go ahead and put 2 spools and then make this even a little thicker. And I would also do the reduction of tension, kind of play around with it and see what kind of look you get. But isn't that a pretty stitch that you can do? So if you ever need some extra cord in a certain color, think about making it on the serger.